Four couples are about to go on a scientific journey. All are at very different stages of love. Steve and Donna are getting married. Hayley and Jay have just split up.
I hate this. I hate it so much.
Alan and Lynn are thinking of doing the same.
Do you realise it is pathetic?
Millie and Sid have been married for 70 years, all of them happy.
There's mayonnaise, mate.
But why does love last for some couples and not for others?
Oh, I can't hold it together anymore.
Now scientists think they know the answer. They can even predict from a wedding photograph when it will go wrong.
This couple is in trouble.
But when it does, can the scientists do the most important thing of all? Put it right.
Can I ask the purpose of this?
No, please continue.
Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. Going to the chapel and we're gonna get married.
Excuse the mess.
I really love you and we're gonna get married. Going.
Everyone dreams of finding their perfect partner. A year ago, Steve met Donna. Since then, they've had a baby and spent only one night apart.
I've been apart now for about 15, 16 hours, and I just can't wait to get back to her and see her face again. And she's going to be wearing a dress, her hair's going to be done, the whole thing. So she's going to be all glory. It's every moment that we're together, it's the love is there, and this love is great. Yeah.
Sean? Where's my shoes? In here.
Like all couples going up the aisle, Steve and Donna believe their marriage will last forever. But today, almost half of all marriages will end in divorce. 6 years after their wedding day, Hayley and Jay have separated. Jay had been having an affair, the #1 reason relationships fail.
And how do I know that it's not going to happen again? How can we get it back again? Please, tell me what you think, how we can.
I don't know.
Good morning.
Alan and Lynn went through the same thing 25 years ago. They stayed together. Now their marriage is threatened by the second biggest reason for divorce, constant arguing.
I arrive late home, it's where have you been, why are you late?
No.
I've prepared your dinner, the least you can be here is on time, or at least let me know you're going to be late.
I don't want such and such bananas. I want Caribbean bananas and all this. I mean, do you realise it is pathetic?
That's so petty to bring that
But
up.
it is, that is you.
No, rubbish.
But Millie and Sid show that love doesn't have to go wrong.
Young people today seem to me to be looking for utter perfection. Where is their perfection? Maybe in heaven. And I know it sounds daft, but everybody's got the possibility of creating their own heaven on this little bit of earth, if you want to.
And so in the presence of God and before this congregation, I proclaim that they are husband and wife.
Love. In the early days, it always seems so easy. But for many couples, those happy feelings can soon turn sour. Alan is manager of a large golf and leisure complex. He's been married to Lynn for 32 years. But now he seems dissatisfied.
I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that I haven't achieved more. I'm disappointed that I don't earn more money. I'm disappointed that I don't live in a bigger house. I'm disappointed that, I can't afford a new car every year. I'm frustrated because I haven't achieved what I would like to have achieved out of life.
But 7 years after getting married, Alan's disappointment led to more than regrets.
I met this woman who I found physically attractive, and we just fell into a highly physical relationship, and it got me away from the domestic trivia which I found so dull.
Steady. I didn't think that could happen to us at all. Up to that point, I thought we had the perfect marriage, and I was very proud of him. And he was on a pedestal, and I was floundering, absolutely floundering, because the shock was just so much.
And then a year after that, I then got into another relationship.
I find that I do say to myself, why am I still here? I should have gone out and done something different or whatever, but I don't know why. I just am still here.
Lynn and Alan struggle on, but younger women who suffer infidelity are twice as likely to take decisive action. 3 weeks ago, Hayley found out about Jay's affair and immediately threw him out of the house. After 14 years and 3 children together, he's now living in a friend's spare room.
I felt on my own for the first week. Very alone. That I wanted to finish it. That I didn't want to see anybody, because I couldn't believe what I had done and the thought of other people's perceptions. I felt ashamed knowing I've just wrecked everything.
He said he adores me and he wants to spend the rest of his life with me, and that he's made the biggest mistake of his life. Which we both know, it's just how to be over this. It's still hot. It's better. But I suppose in one way it can only get worse before it gets better. That's the only way I'm looking at it. Love you.
I love her with all my heart. And I want her back.
I need Dad to talk to me. I don't want to lose that sort of thing that he doesn't talk to me, because he always spoke.
Infidelity has all but destroyed Hayley and Jay's marriage. But temptation is nothing new.
He didn't have a roving eye.
Oh no.
That he never had. If anybody's eyes roved a little, it might have been mine. But nothing could ever have happened. I know that.
So you told me.
No, I know that. I know that.
Millie and Sid seem just as in love as the day they married. But why do some couples remain so positive, while others descend into negativity? Dr. Angela Rowe is an experimental psychologist and an expert in the science of love, and she suspects that the answer might lie in how our feelings literally alter the way we see our partners. To find out if she was right, she took photographs of 20 volunteers and our 4 couples. She then altered them into 3 progressively better-looking images and 3 progressively worse-looking images. But when it came to a test, who would choose which version of their partner?
Your task is to select the best representation of your partner. Your 2 minutes start now.
As the women settled in to look at the photographs, each had to work out how her partner really looked to her. In Donna's eyes, did Steve look like this or this? did Jay's ears really stick out quite that much?
Quite confident I got it right. So one of them had a big spam head, he ain't got a big spam head.
And was Alan beauty or beast? Next, it was the men who were faced with the same dilemma.
Please start now.
There were some that were sort of outrageous, they're far enough away not to be her, but there was the few that were, and it sort of made it very difficult to find the right one.
I wasn't happy with any of them. If he was my first photographer and I had to pay you, I'd smash your machine.
Okay, we've finished, gentlemen. Thank you very much. The test went really well. Our hypotheses seem to have been supported. And that's to say that the couples who were very happy and showed this idealisation of each other tended to choose partners from among the array of photos that were slightly more attractive than their actual partner.
Steve chose exactly as predicted, picking not the real image of Donna, but the most ideal. More surprisingly, Donna did pick the correct image of Steve. Both Millie and Sid had thought the test a nonsense. But after 70 years of looking at the real thing, both picked idealised versions of their partner. Perhaps the reason their relationship has remained so strong.
Couples who are experiencing problems in the relationship or who've been troubled in the relationship for a while now showed the opposite result.
Despite Hayley's confidence, she and Jay performed as expected, picking images less attractive than reality, reflecting perhaps the tensions in their relationship. In fact, only Alan and Lynn went against expectation, both picking slightly idealised versions of the other, possibly a sign that they see each other in a positive light, though for Alan, the motivation was perhaps more political than scientific.
Those photographs, bless her, did her no justice whatsoever. So, I wanted to choose the picture that I felt was the most positive.
Despite Alan's choice, the experiment had finally proved that the more in love you are, the more you will idealise your partner. A process that showed no sign of fading on Steve and Donna's honeymoon to Venice.
It's great. It's really, really great.
It's nice that I'm going to be there for Donna. It really is. I feel very, very comfortable. I don't really have a care in the world, actually.
It's like we're on this big cloud. Just Steve and I are on this love cloud. And it's brilliant.
But just what was producing Steve and Donna's incredible feeling of perfect union? Back from Venice, we sent Steve to the Institute of Psychiatry to find out. As Steve lay down in the brain scanner, an image of Donna was projected onto a screen. But what was happening in his brain? Neuroscientist Andreas Bartels has done this test on scores of in-love men and women and consistently found the same result.
Firstly, we found some activation in parts of their reward system, which explains why love makes you so happy and exhilarated and motivated to be with your partner and spend as much time as you can with your partner.
I love you. I'll spend the rest of my life with you.
And at the same time, we found some regions that were suppressed in their activity. And as it turns out, these are exactly those regions that are activated whenever you're asked to make critical social judgments, moral judgments, judgments of trustworthiness, and so on about another person.
Nothing else cares. Nothing else matters. Nothing else matters. All we do is care for each other. This is their little world in these four walls.
These regions are all suppressed in the state of love, and they may explain why people say love makes people blind.
So every time Steve looks at Donna, two things happen. His reward system floods with feel-good chemicals, and another part of his brain, the areas used for critical thinking, switches off, making him see Donna as the world's most perfect woman. According to Bartels, there are very powerful evolutionary reasons why love affects us this way.
What people don't realize maybe is that love is a mechanism that's been built into our brains so that we stay together with a particular person, or in the case of mothers and fathers, that they stay with their child and help raising it.
Stop crying. No. I know.
Unfortunately, research has also found that its effects last for only 2 to 3 years. So what will the future hold for Steve and Donna when the chemicals do wear off? What if you could predict before you even got married whether your relationship would last or fail? At Berkeley University, one professor thinks he can do just that. And all he needs is a photograph of a person smiling.
It's a rather preposterous claim from one perspective, that a photo can tell us what life is like. But what we did to sort of first assess that is we took women's yearbook photos. These are photos taken when they're 20 years old, and we coded how warm and connected they look.
Keltner was particularly interested in the intensity of the women's smiles. But just what impact had their smiles had on the rest of their lives?
When these women returned to the laboratory 30 years later at about age 52, what we found is that women who had a stronger, warmer, more enthusiastic smile felt greater warmth towards other people in their lives. They felt less anxious on a daily basis. They felt like they were accomplishing their goals more. And perhaps most astonishing was that they were actually more content and satisfied with their marriage and experienced greater well-being in general.
But just what is it about a smile that gives Keltner his clues?
One of the really interesting things about facial expressions is that they tend to involve certain muscle actions that we can't fake. So here is what we call a pleasurable smile, and it involves the zygomatic major muscle that just pulls the lip corners up. But then it involves the contraction of the orbicularis oculi, which raises this part of the cheek up. There's a little pouching right here under the eyelid. That's really hard to produce voluntarily, and when you see that action, you know the person is feeling warm and kind and loving. And then when you go to a fake smile, you see less of the action around the eyes.
Keltner believes the reason some people produce fake smiles and other people real ones is all down to how much stress you experience in early childhood. So to test Keltner's theory, we gave him photographs of Lynn, Alan, Haley and Jay to analyse. At the same time, back in the UK, clinical psychologist Frank Tallis had agreed to hear from the couples themselves.
If I start with you, Haley, I'm quite interested in your early childhood. So, first 4-7 years, maybe.
Well, you know, with this photo of Haley, what's really interesting is you see a pleasurable smile, but it's one that it really indicates an awareness of what other people are thinking. So she's retracting her lips and sort of being aware of other people's regard.
I'd like to prove that I was doing well, like at school for instance, I'd always like, but I was very, not very, I always go to the teacher and say, am I doing this right? I wasn't very confident. I was never confident when I was younger.
What's remarkable about Jay is that in all these photos, we see a lot of negativity. You cannot help but be struck by how sullen he looks. He's looking tough and even aggressive. When we look at these photos, you assume there's some marital conflict in the home, and there's some sort of high level of strife and fighting and disconnect in the family.
And how did your mum and dad get on?
Quite a few arguments. mainly sort of drink related, because my dad used to play darts, was out near enough every night of the week. And sort of when they come back, if there was a little argument or something like that, then so there used to be a bit of screaming and shouting.
You seem to get a little bit upset then, just thinking about that.
Well, I'd rather not say.
Okay.
In Lynn's adolescent photo here, there's a lip press and a certain amount of control of the smile, which suggests that she's quite aware of what others think and a little worried about that.
I don't want to stick out at all. I want to just sort of be comfortable and safe and don't make me stick out.
So do you think this is a legacy of the financial hardship?
Probably.
That there was a sense of inferiority?
Probably. Oh yes, definitely. Inferior is a very good word, because that's definitely how I felt as a child.
The thing that you see in Ellen is a real poise and calm and pretty high level of enthusiasm. But what's interesting is if you look at the photo with his mom, he's showing a lot of pride. And if you go to his photograph with his dad, what we see here, which is interesting, is a wince accompanying his smile. He's closing his eyes, furrowing his eyebrow, contracting that orbicularis oculi. When people wince like this, accompanying a smile, it often accompanies when they've made a mistake and when they've done something wrong. So maybe he feels that something is amiss in his relationship there.
I think I was a bit of a disappointment one way or another. There were high expectations that I would perform it to a certain academic level, which I never really fulfilled.
And did your father express that disappointment?
In later years, yes.
Do you have any memories of him praising you?
I'm sure there were times.
But do you actually find it difficult to remember? I mean,
yes, it's not. Those aren't the memories that those aren't the flashbacks.
How much stress a child experiences early really says a lot about how they respond to stress later in life, say in a marriage. And if they really undergo a lot of stress, they have greater difficulties in responding to adult stress. But being forewarned is forearmed. If you can anticipate where you're going to be reactive or experience a lot of anger and have a little insight into that, that actually helps a lot in your negotiations with your partner.
So if our couples could be shown how they respond to stress, would it help them handle conflict better when it arises? It was time for Frank Tallis and Angela Rowe to find out. The Trier Social Stress Test is one of psychology's most daunting examinations, designed to assess how well a person copes under pressure. Our couples will have to pitch for a new job and perform a mental arithmetic task in front of 3 cameras and a panel of stony-faced scientists. To begin, each participant sat quietly for half an hour, while their normal level of the stress hormone cortisol was measured. Then, with that recorded, the test began. Both Alan and Lynn had reported less than ideal childhoods. So how would stress affect them now, over 50 years later?
Thank you very much indeed for the opportunity of applying for this very prestigious position. We currently have a turnover of just something in the region of we're expected turnover of 2.4 million. I was also responsible for setting up all the systems. I was responsible for recruiting all the staff, all the purchasing, something I'd wanted to achieve for a number of years.
While Alan appeared calm, Lynn's reaction seemed very different.
Can I ask the purpose of this, please? No, I can't ask the purpose of this. Okay.
Please continue.
What should we talk about? The room? I'm standing here feeling quite uncomfortable.
You still have some time. Please continue.
While Hayley and Jay prepared their presentations, Alan and Lynn had to do the maths test, counting backwards in multiples of 13.
996.
No. Begin again.
983.
No. 1022.
980.
No. Begin again.
Hi.
You still have some time.
Right, I've talked too fast. First to say. Is that nearly up now?
We would put new ceilings up and replaster through the mansion. Sorry. I feel really nervous.
It looks very, very uncomfortable.
I can't think of much more to say, really. To apologise.
996.
Thank you.
1009. 983.
He's got a rash that's around his eyes, went to his ears, and it's gone under his neck.
974.
No. Begin again, please. 1022.
I think we never thought he was going to cope too well with this situation, and I think he's not.
Thank you.
Clearly he was so stressed. He was even more stressed than we thought he was going to be.
You know, it seemed to be almost like hyperventilating.
The guy was totally stressed out. Very extreme.
Oh, yeah? How far did you get down on the mental arithmetic then?
Haven't a clue. Just kept going as far as I could.
Yeah? Did you get as far as 600?
Yes, I think I did.
Did you? 500?
No.
Oh, probably about the same then. We'll have to check tomorrow.
Okay.
So you did best.
Well, no, probably not. My stress levels have gone right through the ceiling.
Okay.
I'm all right now, I'm fine.
Yeah.
What did you have to do? You had a job interview?
Yeah.
I knew you'd be crap at that. I thought I feel sorry for Jay. What's the matter? Do you like it? It's like you're going to break down and cry in a minute.
The very fact of having gone through a stressful situation together seemed to have brought Hayley and Jay a little closer. But the truth about how they react to conflict would soon be revealed. The next day, Angela and Frank were briefed on the results. On average, men respond far more strongly to stress than women.
Your cortisol response was very low, was very muted.
I really thought it'd be higher than that. I thought it'd be really high.
You cope very well with stress.
Oh, good.
Hayley was initially stressed, but her results show she was soon coping.
So let's move on to Jay. It should come as no surprise to you that indeed you had a very marked cortisol response. So the stress hormone was very high.
I was expecting that.
Jay had appeared very stressed, and his results showed this.
You certainly came over as being very competent and very confident. That was, however, discrepant with the test results, which showed a marked male cortisol response.
Well, it bears out what we were talking about yesterday, really, that I appear to be coping, but in reality, I'm not actually in a comfort zone.
Alan had appeared calm, happy even, but under the surface, he had been stressed.
Let's move on to you now, Lynn. With respect to your cortisol response, it was very marked.
Women do show an elevation in cortisol levels as a response to stress, but it's very elevated compared to most female responses, and higher than Alan's.
Right.
It's a male profile, really.
So it's not at all typical then?
No.
Lynn had appeared under pressure, and her results showed that she was suffering an extreme, typically male stress response.
It feels, looking at it like that on the graph, seeing how high it's shot, that's a bit of a worry.
I think I understand the way that Lynn ticks, but I equally accept that I have a contribution towards the way that Lynn ticks and can be more aware of the impact that perhaps I'm having on Lynn's stress levels.
I suppose I want to help him deal with his stress now, because I don't want it getting worse. I feel more sympathetic towards Jay. You know, although it annoys me sometimes when I feel sympathetic, because obviously of her situation, but you know what I mean? But I think he understands that.
Both couples had taken another step in understanding how they really feel. Soon they'd get more help to save their marriages. But first, how did Dacre Keltner rate their chances?
What we see in the photos of Lynn and Alan is really this striking independence that Alan shows of the emotional composition of Lynn. And it's really clear here. He has this very strong, assertive, outgoing smile, very composed. And it's as if she has been pasted in. You know, she seems to be in an entirely different context than him.
What then of Haley and Jay?
Jay seems a lot different. You know, he just seems plugged in and happy and connected. He's leaning toward her. There's a symmetry in their displays. He's touching her quite clearly.
So how had Jay made the shift from stressed childhood to his happy wedding photos?
A really important thing that I think developmental psychologists have learned is that you can start off life with one family context and temperament, and then these big events happen, and they can redirect you. So my guess is, you know, between this photo and then this wedding date photo, something big happened to Jay. And, you know, the obvious candidate is this connection to Haley, but something clearly has given him strength and warmth. When we recall Alan, how independent of Lynn he seemed, we see something different. You know, if I had to make a call for how their lives are going to turn out together, I'm a little bit more hopeful for Haley and Jay.
Sid. The mistake is thinking that wonderful thing that you've got. You haven't had to work at it.
It's like going to work. If you want to get on, you've got to show your boss that you're doing something for your living. And it's the same thing with a marriage. You've got to show your wife that you care and you do your best for her, and she has to do the same for you.
And as time goes on, you are becoming more and more secure in your love and in your marriage, and then it gets better still.
Millie and Sid showed that to succeed, a marriage takes work. But for couples already at the point of divorce, it's almost impossible to know where to begin.
I'm just confused.
I'm confused, Jay. You used to say to me out there that you should know what's going on in your head. Jay, I'm as confused as you are.
I can't believe that you're in the same relationship with me and you believe that the relationship doesn't have a problem.
I don't know what's going on in my head. I want to know. I need to know. It's not just how you're feeling, it's how I'm feeling as well, Jay.
Now I've reached a point where I cannot talk to you about it anymore, because we're just going over the same old stuff again and again and again.
Howard Markman is one of the world's foremost relationship experts. He's worked with thousands of couples and studied what makes love thrive and what makes it fail.
We're looking for the 4 research-based danger signs based on 25 years of research. We used to take 24 hours to code 1 hour of videotape, microanalytically. Based on that research, now we can focus in on 4 danger signs. Sign 1, withdrawal. Men often do what we call the appeal to God. Women pursue in the face of withdrawal.
Tell me why you've been so miserable today. Come on. What? Tell me why you've been so miserable today. Come on, what? Tell me why then.
Sign 2, escalation. Negative, 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 negative.
You're not prepared to change. Your lifestyle is the way you like it at the moment.
How would you have me change it?
Well, I
Please
don't
tell
know
me.
how I would have you change.
You must know.
But you're inflexible.
Sign 3, negative interpretations. You never loved me. You're just like your father.
You're not interested. You never have been interested.
No, that is not correct.
And sign 4.
Invalidation, when you're attacking the other person verbally, sometimes physically. And when that happens, the relationship is often headed for divorce.
Fortunately, none of our couples showed signs of invalidation, though the 3 other danger signs were present. But with Hayley and Jay living apart, and Lynn and Alan barely talking, could Markman's method really help our couples?
What I try to help these couples do is to help them talk without fighting. Conflicts are inevitable, we need to talk about them, but we need to do this, and this is the whole key, safely. One of the things that you're going to need to do is to try to figure out a way to deal with the affair and put it behind you. Is that something you both would want to do?
Definitely, if it saves the marriage.
Yeah.
It's a way forward.
The way I want the two of you to be managing conflict from this point on is to only talk about issues when you both say, okay, we're going to have a discussion now, is this a good time? And I'm in fact going to suggest that you have a weekly meeting to talk about your conflicts, and that's the only time that you talk about them. One of the best things that a couple who's feeling distant can do is to reach out and just hold your partner's hand. Do you feel comfortable reaching out and holding Haley's hand right now? Hold it. You're not holding hands anymore. Terrific. Too often people take the relationship for granted. They don't invest in going out on a date or talking as friends. I like to suggest to the two of you having a date night. Is that something you can agree to do? Can I get you to agree to that?
Then we'll be delighted.
I'll be delighted.
Okay, terrific.
Thank you very much.
Pleasure.
Thank you.
Okay.
Try and go away and work on the things that we've been sort of asked to do.
It should work, as long as we commit to it.
Alan and Lynn are going to have more challenges ahead. It's not to say that Jay and Haley don't have some danger signs. They have some escalation and withdrawal, but with Lynn and Alan, if they really decide to do their part as they move forward, they have the opportunity to have the second half of their marriage be significantly better than the first, if that's what they want.
Disagreements are inevitable. The key to Markman's method is to stop couples fighting destructively. But not everyone has to learn the hard way.
Okay, wait a minute. I'm busy, I'm doing something.
Do we argue?
All the time.
Well, I would say
Never a day goes by.
always.
Never a day goes by.
If she says that happened, I always say no. Automatically, we argue about it. I don't take any notice of it.
I'll say to him, I'd like to do so and so. He'll say to me, not bloody likely, excuse my language. Yeah. Oh, not bloody likely.
And 10 minutes later we're doing it.
Yeah. Of course we argue. Arguments, yes, but not rows.
Plenty arguments.
Not rows. I don't think...
If we have a row...
It's many years since we've had a row.
There has to be a good reason for it. Come on, Mill. The avocado's getting cold.
For some couples, cutting out the rows comes naturally. For others, it takes work. In Markman's programme, the next task is having fun. Friday night is date night.
Yeehaw! Yeehaw! Okay.
Oh, that's not salesman.
What I need you to do is to gel with each other.
Yes.
Okay?
Life is just a dance.
See what we're going to do. We're going to do the first 3 moves. We're going to do the mambo, cucaracha, and the open step, and stop.
But how did we get from backwards to forwards?
Don't worry about it. Trust me. I'll take you through it. Hey, that's a bit fast, isn't it? Where to start? just start any time. Okay, well, you just start any time, I suppose. So it's 1, 2.
No, we're doing this.
Oh well,
that's not salsa.
Okay.
I'm gonna count you in. And 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and then 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7.
My legs are all over the place.
1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1.
Wonder, I've lost it completely.
Okay. It's just the speed. It's
Rewind it again.
Because it's like anything else. When you think about it, you can't do it. It's like driving a car for the first time when you're looking at all the sticks and the gears and the brakes and everything.
Smile. Feel the music. This is a very what I call salsa.
Recording. It sort of came to me really sort of out of the blue. Really and truly, I hadn't felt at all relaxed in Alan's company on the Friday night, and worse than that, I'm finding it would seem that I'm becoming increasingly unrelaxed in his company on an everyday basis.
1 week after seeing Markman, for Lynn and Alan, the programme seemed to be creating as many problems as it was solving. Hayley and Jay were still living apart, but slowly spending more time together. And for them, Howard Markman's rules did seem to be getting results.
We're talking a lot more and sort of being more open, I suppose.
Jay's just left this Monday. I didn't really want him to go.
I found it really, really hard tonight, sort of leaving her.
I keep trying to stop him from going. I want him to stay. My heart wants him to stay, but mine keeps saying, well, no, you've got to go.
For both couples, there was clearly more of Markman's method to take on board.
Because I think a lot of the conflict between us is due to total miscommunication and misunderstanding. I am not saying what I feel and believe because I don't feel that I can say it without fear of conflict.
You accuse me of arguing. What I would say is it's not arguing, it's having a difference of opinion. In my opinion, it's important that I can express freely without fear of ridicule or disagreement.
I believe from what has been said, we are both not expressing ourselves openly and honestly for fear of upsetting one another. I must not be frightened anymore of saying what I think. I think I've always been a bit scared about letting off steam with Alan because I've been scared of the consequences. But if the relationship is to continue, then we have to communicate as effectively as we have been doing in the last couple of weeks.
Have a good day.
You too.
All right. See you later, mate.
Days are different. So, last sort of 6 days have been very, very good. But then again, take one day at a time.
3 weeks ago, I didn't even know where I'd been in the future 3 weeks ago. I thought that I didn't have a future, and now I've got a lot of hope for the future now.
I don't want to ask her if I can move back in. I want her to ask me to move back in, so then I know sort of her timing's right and I'm not putting any pressure on her.
I don't know what's stopping me from saying the next step. I don't know what's stopping me.
Maybe date night would help them take the final step.
imagine sort of anything better. I love her so much that it actually hurts. She is my life, and she is my everything, and you know, I don't want to be with anybody else. I want Hayley.
You know the feelings you get when you first meet someone, and you get that stomach thing. Everyone gets it, don't they? Like your stomach goes. It's like I'll be sitting there, and I remember how much I love him and how much he loves me, and then my stomach will go. It's a sour thing. Now I'm a believer. I'm not a trace. I'm down in my mind. Said I'm a believer.
After 6 long weeks on Markman's programme, it was time for our couples to revisit him for one last session. And despite their initial troubles, both couples seem to have made amazing progress.
What's the process been like? Has it been worth it?
The process has been uneven. It's, but I think we have managed to keep quite a lot of the conflict out of the relationship because of the things that we learned.
So it's been tough. It's been some up and downs, as you said, but you're moving in the right direction. It's been working.
We're 3 rungs up a 20-rung ladder, but we're on the ladder. That's the main thing.
We're on the ladder.
We're on the process, and it's only through our own determination, as you said earlier on. If we're determined to make it happen, we can make it happen.
I think it's a good thing. It's a good thing you're doing. You're courageous.
What happened is sort of it happened. But it's not until you start pulling away from someone and losing someone to realise of how much, you know, that I do love Hayley and want to be with Hayley for the rest of my life.
I always would have said before, if someone would have ever cheated on me, that I would never have him back, ever. I never would have thought I would have been able to overcome this. So I think that's what's been useful to me, realising that how special love is.
I mean, I feel that you're back on track.
2 days after seeing Markman, Hayley called Jay to a special conflict meeting.
So if I said to you, like, okay then, if you can live with bits like that, and if you, and me being a little bit like that, and I said to you, right, I might be like that sometimes. If you could put up with me like that, would you come back?
You know I would.
So will you come back home then?
Of course I will. Get the stuff.
This was my bedroom for the last 2 months. It's time to go home.
It's wonderful. That beginning is wonderful, that excitement. But that excitement must fade somewhat. It cannot keep at that pace. And that, in my opinion, is when true love sets in.
When the infatuation, more or less slows down.
That's when the love comes.
That's when love comes.
And if you're sensible, that is where you begin to create what should be a good marriage.
It's nice to be back in the family. Yeah, it's nice. Hopefully we can keep it up.
I will commit to making a conscious effort not to belittle your opinion, whatever it may be, but to respect that opinion.
And I will make the same commitment. Deal. Okay?